Acharya Ashtatra Satasvi Srimad Acharya Vindabhakti Swami Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashta Preshva Padresha Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 44, The Killing of Kamsa. This is 29th on the board, but we will start reading from 22. Okay. So 22 and 23. Nachala tat praharena malahata iva dvipa bahur nirgriha chanuram bahusho bhramyam hari bhuprishte bhuthayam asa tarasa kshina jivitam visrasta kalpaklesha srak indradvaja evaporat. No more shaken by the demon's mighty blows than an elephant struck with a flower garland. Lord Krishna grabbed Chanura by his arms, swung him around several times, and hurled him onto the ground with great force. His clothes, hair, and garland scattering, the wrestler fell down dead, like a huge festival column collapsing. Purport. Shivashidhar Swami explains the words Indradvaja as follows. In Bengal, on the occasion of a certain festival, people erect a tall column in the form of a man and decorate it with flags, banners, etc. He, Chanura, fell just as such a pole might fall. Do you imagine the scene? No? What Krishna did? So Chanura was hitting him like a hawk, very fast. But Krishna took the blows of Chanura. How? What's the comparison?
Garland.
Like a garland hitting an elephant. So what does the elephant do? Maybe he'll notice, maybe not. So Krishna grabbed Chanura by the arms and swung him around a few times and threw him with great force. So we heard that he was very big, right? His body was very big and strong, Chanura. And Krishna was very delicate young boy. But that must have been a great scene. You know, sometimes these fighters, that's what they do. They grab and throw over themselves. So then he was thrown and he fell like this tall column, collapsing. So, next verses. Tathaiva mushtika purvam swa mushtya hadina vai balabhadrena balina talena bhyato brisham pravepita sarudhiram udvamam mukhato ardita vyasu papato vyupasthe vadaha ta evangripa. Similarly, Mushtika struck Lord Balabhadra with his fist and was slain. Receiving a violent blow from the mighty Lord's palm, the demon trembled all over in great pain, vomited blood, and then fell lifeless onto the ground, like a tree blown down by the wind. How the demon fell? Like a tree. Have you seen a tree falling? Here in Radhadesh? Maybe not the whole tree, but some strong winds. And so in the forest there were trees falling when there's a storm. I remember here there was a huge storm once, and many trees, some whole trees fell, many branches. So he fell, and how Balaram hit him? Mushtika hit him with a fist, and Balaram hit him how? It's a special technique. Don't remember? Okay. Similarly, Mushtika struck Lord Balabhadra with his fist, receiving a violent blow from the mighty Lord's palm. With his palm. Demon trembled all over in great pain, vomited blood, and then fell lifeless onto the ground like a tree blown down by the wind. Text 26. Tata kutam anupraptam Rama praharatam baraha avadhililaya rajan savagyam vama mushtina. Confronted next by the wrestler Kuta, Lord Balaram, the best of fighters, playfully and nonchalantly killed him with his left fist, O king. So he hit Mushtika with his palm, fell, then this Kuta, he was around, and then he jumped, he thought, now is the moment, I will surprise him. So he jumped immediately, but Lord Balaram hit him with his left fist. So he also fell. And then, Tarhyevahi Shala Krsna Prapadahata Shirshaka Dvidha Vidirnas Toshalaka Udhav Api Nipetatu. Then Krishna struck the wrestle Shala with he struck the wrestle Shala with the head with his toes and tore him in half. So he struck. So is that like a kung fu technique or something? Toes, head. He struck the head and fell. So Shirsha means the head, and then Krishna hit him with prapada by his toes. And then the Lord dealt with Toshala in the same way, and both wrestlers fell down dead. So Krishna kicked them. Some special kick. Actually, probably he didn't lift his kicks because the acharyas explained that this Toshalaka and Shala, they also thought that they will attack him simultaneously and grab him by the feet. So they jumped on his feet and he kicked them, and then they fell dead by splitting their heads. So quite a scene, huh? Text 28. Chanure mushtike kute shale toshalake hate shesha pradurduvur malla sarve prana paripsala. Chanura, Mushtika, Kuta, Shala, and Toshala, having been killed, the remaining wrestlers all fled for their lives. So in the commentaries, Acharya said they understood, okay, there's no point of fighting these boys, and because the previous ones, like this Shala and Toshala, they were afraid of Kamsa, so they thought, if we don't fight, Kamsa will kill us, so let us try at least. But the rest, they fled fearing their life, and they said, my life is the most precious, and they forgot everything else, Kamsa and everyone else, so they fled. And now, text 29, we see what the Krishna's and Balaram's friends do. Gopa, the coward boys. So let's chant it. Gopan Vayasyan akrishya tai samsridja vijarhatu vadyamaneshu turyeshu valgantaurtanur purau gopan vayasyan akrishya tai samsridja vijarhatu vadyamaneshu turyeshu valgantaurutanu purau. Please. Gopan vayasyan akrishya tai samsrija vijarhatu vadyamaneshu turyeshu valgantaurutanu purau. Gopan, the coward boys. Vayasyan, their young friends. Akrishya, gathering together. Tai, with them. Samsrija, joining up. Vijahratu, they sported. Vadyamaneshu, while they played. Turyeshu, the musical instruments. Valgantau, the two of them dancing about. Uruta, resounding. Nupurau, their ankle bells. Translation. Krishna and Balaram then called their young coward boy friends to join them, and in their company the lords danced about and sported, their ankle bells resounding as musical instruments played. Purport. Nowadays, we see that in championship boxing matches, as soon as there is a victory, all the friends and relatives of the victorious boxer rush into the ring to congratulate him. And often the champion will dance about in great happiness. Exactly in this mood, Krishna and Balaram danced about, celebrating their victory with their friends and relatives. Have you seen such an end of boxing match? You've seen it? Okay. Just yesterday. There was one in the heavy category. What was his name? This Irish. Yes. So he always sings a song, right? He says a song when he wins, and he usually always wins. He just dances and he sings a special song. So that's a tradition coming from Krishna and Balaram. They were dancing, and their nupuras, their ankle bells were resounding, and the music. Although the scene seems such ghastly, can we imagine? We just read that the head of Shala split, by Krishna's stall. So it must have been quite a messy arena, just blood and bodily parts. And still the boys were happy and they were dancing. And of course, most of the audience were congratulating them also in great happiness. Only Kamsa and a few others, supporters, they were trembling. Kamsa was feeling that the end is coming close. So, but Krishna here, we see that he did it so playfully, and Balaram also specifically says Lilaya, very easily, very playfully they killed them, which seems very astonishing, because we read already that the people were afraid, looking at the unequal power of these expert fighters and these small boys. But now everyone is peaceful and happy by the end result that Krishna empowered them in such an easy way. Although they had some fight, and Prabhupada explains that Krishna likes to fight. Why do we want to fight? Why do we want to see fighting? Because that's a part of the nature of its spiritual rasa. So Krishna likes that. And Prabhupada says in one class, so sometimes Krishna likes to fight, but in the spiritual world, specifically in Vaikuntha, there's no fighting. So Prabhupada said, just to keep the body fit. He wants to fight, keep the body fit. So he comes, and of course his devotees come. Or there's some arrangement that they come as demons and there's a good fight. But that, if we don't know, creates really a puzzle for a mundane intellect. Why is, if we accept that Krishna is God, how can he do this abominable killings in such a way? Maybe he could have killed them more gently and more peacefully, and not like that in the arena, actually Maharaj Yudhishthira was surprised, so much so that he said to Narada Muni that I'm so disturbed that my intelligence is like a flame of candle, a flame which is blown by the wind. I cannot comprehend this. So this is in the beginning of 7th canto. Maharaj Yudhishthira is asking Narada Muni, how can Krishna kill the demons in such a way, because he's, in all the Shastra, described as, and he himself says that in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sama Sarveshu, I am equal to all living entities. Nadveshu, I don't hate anyone. I don't abhor anyone. Nor I am partial to anyone. So Yudhishthira is making this argument. If Krishna is equal to everyone, why he's killing like that? This is from mundane sense, mundane point of view, this is it obviously looks like a completely material designation, which Krishna repeatedly says in Bhagavad Gita again and again, more than 10 times, that a spiritual person who has transcended the gunas, or who is living by the divine nature, is not affected by dualities, neither hates nor likes, neither is attracted nor is repulsed by anyone, and treats enemy and the friends and the neutral in the same way. So this is the ideal standard for spiritual behavior. Why is Krishna killing, and not just killing peacefully, but he's doing it with a gusto, with happiness. And actually, the acharyas say in that verse here, when Balaram killed Mushtika, then when he was falling, the fighter Balaram went down and he was cursing him. He was saying bad words. So we know that also Krishna in different fights, he is just challenging, because this is also part of the Virya Rasa, to say something bad. So it seems like they really, and Balaram's eyes were red, it was red copper from anger, and he was laughing in this special laugh when you're angry. So how can God be angry so much so that he will kill like that? So Yudhishthira Maharaj was really puzzled, and then Narada Muni says, and also, this is one thing, that he is equal, he is killing, and more even I'm puzzled that he kills Shishupal, who since child, his first words were blasphemy towards Krishna, his cousin. He was so hateful and envious that he was just blaspheming since small child. These were his first words. It's not mama or something. He started just cursing Krishna. And Yudhishthira, they all knew that. And Krishna was so tolerant. But finally, because he created such a disturbance in the auspicious Rajasuya sacrifice, so Krishna just killed him with Sudarshan Chakra. And everyone saw that he got liberation. This was special mercy that they saw, that Shishupala's Atma, Jiva, he went into Krishna's body, and they understood, oh, he got liberation. So this was too much. Yudhishthira said, I just cannot understand. How can such a person get liberation? That which yogis and transcendentalists struggle for thousands of lifetimes. How is this possible? So, what Narada Muni say in answer, do you remember? Some famous verses, but then he says, I'll tell you a story to illustrate. You have to know who are these demons. Then he starts the story of Jaya and Vijaya, they are coming, and how actually Hiranyakashipu came, and this is the seventh canto, almost up to the end. There's the last 2 chapters about Varnashrama. So, yeah, he says in these famous verses, which are also we see in Brahma Samhita, very similar explanation, that no matter in what mood or your attitude or your feelings, it doesn't matter. If you approach Krishna, you will get benefit. Yam krodha kama sahaja pranayadi biti vatsalya guru gaurava sevya bhavai. So Brahma Samhita, yam krodha kama sahaja. Either it's with anger, with lust, or with friendship, or with awe and reverence, guru gaurava sevya, with service attitude, you always get benefited, and you attain liberation. So that's why, for Krishna, he is actually indifferent, and he's not partial, definitely. So he treats everyone, and he reciprocates with everyone as they approach him. He says that. Yeyat hamam prapadyate, right? Tamstataivam bhajamyaham. I reward them, I reciprocate in the same way. So somebody comes with the fighting spirit, Krishna fights, he reciprocates in the same way. But his fight, being touched by the Lord, and most of the demons in Vrindavana, they were killed. They came, almost all of them, in some interesting form, not like humans. Anyone can suggest what kind of forms the demons took? What? Bird. Okay, Baka. And then who? Horse, Keshi.
Cart.
The cart, okay, that's also strange. Okay, yeah.
Snake.
How?
Snake.
Snake. Yes.
Snake.
Okay. A bull.
Whirlwind.
A whirlwind. Yeah, we said it. The calf. Yeah, which was also Vatsasura. And young lady. Okay. Yeah, that was the first one who came. And Putana, she was like disguised as a Apsara, like a very beautiful heavenly damsel. And the one who Balaram killed, a cowboy, huh? Pralamba. So he was like a cowboy, but all the rest had form of animals, or we missed the who? That was Dvivida also. So we forgot the donkey, yeah.
And the Vyoma.
Vyoma, yeah, he mentioned that, Vyoma Sura. So, yeah, they take different forms, and Krishna kills them in different ways. Keshi, he pushes his hand in the mouth, or, different demons in different ways. The Dhenuka, he whirls them like similarly and throws them away. Huh? Throw them over the tree. So Krishna kills the demons. Okay, those who are in human form, like the first one, the Putana, she's a lady, doesn't strike her. He embraced her, she was feeding. You want to drink milk with some poison? So he said, okay, let me drink, you're my mother. And just gently kill her by drinking her life air. So they all were dead, and they attained liberation, as we know. And in some special cases, again, like Putana, because she had also some motherly affection from her previous life, she really liked Vamana when she saw him for the first time. Such a cute boy, I want to have that boy as a child. But then when she saw that he arrested, that was the sister of Bali, or daughter, different Shastra says different, but she was there, and she saw Vamanadev entering the arena. He was so beautiful. She was attracted in motherly affection, but then when Vamana cheated her father, and she became, and arrested him and tied him with ropes of the Varuna ropes, she became angry, and she said, I want to kill him. So she had a form in the next life where she wanted to kill him, but also had this affection a little bit, and then she got liberation in Goloka. And then it seems, how is this possible? Devotees, have to cultivate positive love and attain, after a long time of practice, prema. Then they can serve Krishna face to face, directly. And she gets it with this mixture of hate, mostly hate. And how is that possible? But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, but she doesn't get the same result. She is liberated, and she's not liberated in Brahman like most of the other demons. She does get a form as similar of Krishna's mother, but still she is not part of the intimate circle of devotees who serve Krishna directly. She's in the Aishwarya Goloka, and just having spiritual body and worshipping Krishna from a distance. So it's not the same, and we have to be clear on that. But the point is, Krishna is really neutral. Whoever approaches him, even with anger, with fear, with lust, get purified. But those who approach him favorably and want to please him, they get the most favorable result, because Krishna accepts them and admits them to his personal entourage and devotees who serve him personally, directly in Goloka, Vrindavana, or in any other planet if they wish so, in some of his other forms. So this hatred does not exist in Krishna, although he exhibits such a behavior that looks like he becomes angry, he fights, he kills, but he is not affected like us when we do that. And we do it in Tamoguna. He is transcendental. His anger is transcendental. And there is no hatred, there is no envy in Krishna at all. And therefore, when he says, I do not envy, I do not hate anyone, that's the fact. And he advises that we also develop this quality. And I mentioned that this word, hatred, dveshti, Krishna repeats it again and again. Starting from the second chapter, describing the symptoms of a person who has sthita pragya, real pragya means wisdom, realized knowledge, which is steady. He is situated in knowledge. So Krishna says, doesn't hate anyone, nor likes anyone. And then in the 5th chapter also, when he describes the karma yoga and sannyas, he also says those the truly renounced, they do not hate, do not envy anyone. And then in 12th chapter, at the end, anyone remembers what Krishna speaks at the end of 12th chapter? It's a very short chapter, just 20 verses. How it starts, the 12th chapter. Usually a chapter starts with a question. What Arjuna asked in the 12th chapter. How is it called? What's the topic? Devotional service. So the question Arjuna posed was that's there. But just before that, the question of Arjuna was, who is better? The ones who serve you in bhakti, or those who are serve or attracted to the impersonal and long description of Brahman? And Krishna says, yes, those who strive for this unmanifested, all-pervading, absolute, they still come to me, and being also, he says, they being friends to all the living entities and working for the benefit of all, they finally attain me. But that path, he says, is very difficult for the conditioned soul. And then he says, those who serve me in bhakti with love, they come quickly to me. And then he explains to Arjuna, if you cannot do that, direct your devotional service, then you can practice the prescriptions of yoga, and if not that, then you can develop knowledge. If not that, you have to renounce the fruits of your work, etc. And then in the 13th verse till the end, 7 verses, Krishna says, one after another, he explains, someone who is like this and this and this is to me, very dear to me. Okay, so these are very important verses, right? If we're devotees and we strive to be devotees, we want to, what means a devotee? You want to please God, you want to please Krishna. So don't you want to know how you can please? He says directly, if you behave like that, you will become very dear to me. Okay, so this is very crucial information, right? So we have to know. And the first thing he says, Adveshti sarva bhutanam. Someone who does not hate anyone. All living entities. Maitra is friendly towards everyone. And then later, these are more than 20 qualities he described, which persons who exhibit them and act like that, behave like that, they're very dear to him. So, and later on, 3 verses, he says, Nadveshti, those who do not hate, do not envy anyone, do not abhor. They are very dear to me. So this is the only which is said 2 times, same word. It means it's important for Krishna. Then in 14th chapter, when he describes the mode of goodness and those who act in mode of goodness, again, not veshti, they don't hate anyone. And in 18th chapter also, those who, that's about the mode of goodness in 18th chapter. In the 14th chapter was, those who have daivi nature, transcendental nature, that's a symptom of it. So it seems for Krishna that's very important, and that word means many things. Prabhupada translated as envy, as hatred. Basically, that means hatred, to despise someone, to hate, to be abhorred, to be repulsed, to not like, from. And then it's actually a connection between all these words. Sometimes Prabhupada frequently translates or uses as synonyms hate and envy. For example, for the word himsa, usually we know this is a violence, and Prabhupada says envy. So ahimsa means non-violent but also non-envious. And there are many words also for envy, which also is in Bhagavad Gita, anasuya, those who are not envious. So it starts with something of not liking, something more innocent, I don't like you. And then it develops into, because usually, why is the connection with envy? You envy someone you naturally don't like. Can you envy someone who you like? Now, by definition, envy means you don't like. I don't like. you or being or what you have or who you are, whatever. So then it develops to more intense and becomes from just a dislike to despise, which is a stronger, right? I despise you, and then I hate you, and then I hit you. I do some violence, that's the himsa thing, or I kill you, that's the end of it. It starts from one to... So these are all they're result of our dualistic vision. We like those who satisfy us, and we dislike others or hate them, but this is very much, it puts us very much into illusion, and it's very difficult to practice devotional service. This means we're under the modes, this display of hatred, envious, this negative attitude means we're covered by the modes. And we hear in the 14th chapter, after Krishna explained the different displays of the modes of nature, Arjuna asked him, but how can, first of all, can you tell me what are the symptoms of someone who overcomes the modes of nature? And then tell me how this happened. How can one do it? What is the practical way? So that's the end of the 14th chapter, when Krishna gives also a list. Okay, somebody who has transcended the modes is such as, there he says, also adveshti is not envious. And at the end, what is the solution? Krishna says, how can you overcome the modes? 14th chapter, end of it. It's a very famous verse. How can we overcome the modes? Any guesses? Huh? That's not in the 14th chapter. Yes, and practically means by engaging in bhakti yoga, he says. Krishna, how? There is a special way of engaging. How? That's 6th chapter at the end, and this is, Krishna says, the highest yogi, but specifically in the 14th chapter, Krishna says, 14th chapter. You can't open it? Huh? No, that's the 10th chapter. 10. Anyone with phone? No? Are you sure? Okay. Yes, Ru? Avyabhicharana. Avyabhicharana means no interruption. Bhakti yogena sevate. One serves me with bhakti yoga. Avyabhicharana means no interruption. But because our bhakti is interrupted, right? We are still not in the platform of uninterrupted devotional service. That's why we fell into the modes. Every now and then, or all the time, and sometimes we come up above while we are in direct contact with devotional service. But usually, until our bhakti is anishtita, it's not steady. Because nishtita bhakti means liberation. You're not influenced by the modes, and your devotional service is fixed. It doesn't waver. And there are almost no anarthas at that stage. So it's a quite advanced stage. But it's possible by following very diligently the process of devotional service, the steps prescribed by the acharyas. So this is the way of Vyabhicharana. We can overcome the modes and be not influenced. And this is the way Prabhupada explains. If we just practice devotional service, we become liberated from the modes. But then we read in the 3rd canto, Lord Kapila explains, there is devotional service practice in different modes. And due to the different combinations, 3 times 3 times 3 becomes, he says, unlimited varieties of expression of someone who is conditioned. But he gives the 3 main, and then he says somebody who is above the modes, how he practices devotional service. But under the 3 modes, He explains, under the mode of goodness, you will see certain symptoms. Under the mode of ignorance, you will see certain symptoms. And, for example, if you don't remember, at least you can guess. Someone in the mode of ignorance, even practicing, what you will see in the behavior. There's no sleep there. Yeah, it's usually by sleep, but here it's like more prominent negative qualities. Himsa is there, himsa, hatred or violence. What? No. Yeah, that's a symptom of tamoguna, but that's not in the list there. No, they're more like, pride and envy and violence, things like that, which are directly connected with other people, not so much that you are just sleepy. So these violent and very negative, they're exhibited by someone who practices devotional service. So this is a question. And also, one very important, you make distinction. You have a bhinadrik. Bhinadrik means your vision is divided. You see, that's the sad point, you see certain people or living entities, someone you like, the others you dislike, someone you love, others you hate. So this is bhinadrik. Or it also means you see separately from the vision of Krishna, or you see, Prabhupada translates that a separatist mentality, you have interest separate from the interest of Krishna, which is the same thing also if you hate and have material vision, is definitely, it's far from Krishna's vision and Krishna's interest. So this Binadrik is there in Sattva Guna, also in Rajaguna. So this division and seeing in dualistic, even if you're in Sattva Guna, you're detached and you do it out of duty, these are the symptoms, but still you have this division, us and them and like that. So that remains until we are under the modes. So the question is, and one devotee asked Prabhupada, you said that in Bhagavad Gita it says you practice devotional service, you overcome the modes. Here we see you practice devotional service under the modes. How is this possible? Any answers? It's a tough question, right? I mean, okay, we're practicing devotional service and we're supposed to be above the modes, but Bhagavatam explains that when we are under the modes, we practice devotional service also, and it manifests, not the devotional service, but our behavior manifests. Yeah, okay. But since there was no distinction made in these verses, it's just simply, under the devotional service, under the modes, and here devotional service means above the modes. So Prabhupada gave a very interesting example answering this. He said, just like in the ocean, there is a boat, okay? So when some ocean means material world, the modes of nature. So you go in the boat, it means you take up devotional service. You're above the modes, okay? You're in the boat. This is the general thing. But there are waves and wind coming, so the modes are still affecting you. And then it will be shaky and like that. You can have sickness, seasickness. So you're affected. But if you're in the boat, if you continue, if you stick to devotional service, you actually will not be under the water. You'll still be, safe in that sense. So I found that example is very interesting. That explains how we actually, when we connect with Krishna, we are transcendental in one sense, and at the same time we are under the modes when we're in the material world. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur nicely explains Habudububai. We just swallow water and start to choke, and being under the waves of the material world. Sometimes up, sometimes down, under, up and under, like that. So this is the situation. Even if we struggle to practice, we'll still be affected. But it's recommended, of course, that you go to, you go with the boat to a sea where it's peaceful, right? You prefer to have a nice, nice travel with the boat. You don't want to have a storm. If there is a storm, you'll be quite disturbed and you get sick and whatever. It's difficult. So that's why if we're in Tamaguna or Rajaguna, the mind is so disturbed by the storm of the mental platform. It's so difficult to put Krishna in there, isn't it? But when it's peaceful, when it's sattvic, then easily you can hold Krishna. That's the dharana, that's the concentration. You keep Krishna in the mind. So therefore it's really important that devotees actually follow, because if you follow the basic standard principles of the recommendations for bhakti, especially the practical items of Pancharatrika Vidya of performing devotional service in worshipping the deity, we have to follow very sattvic lifestyle. Because worship is not just on the altar. You do offer incense. It starts from how you wake up, the whole worship. You wake up and you have to remember, you have to say something. What do you have to say? Yeah, you have to say the names of Krishna or name, or offer obeisances and remember Guru and Krishna, like that. And then you have to clean, detailed instructions, how you clean your teeth, how you clean your body, and then you put fresh clothes, and then you, all these things, purify your body, subtle, you meditate on your spiritual identity. So whole procedure, how you come to the sattvic level when you focus. Then when you worship Krishna peacefully and you invite him to come, please sit here, I offer you a place, feel comfortable, right? That's what we say when we put the deities and before we start offering them different things. The first upachara means first offering is have a seat. My dear Lord, please have a seat, like a special guest. Actually, the item of Deepa, of the meaning of that is some explanations is that you're inviting a guest to come in your house and you're showing the way with a lamp. That's the traditional, it's some very dear guests. So we offer different items with love to Krishna, but it's very personal and it's very practical. And for devotees who are not on the level where they can perceive Krishna directly in the heart or in the holy name, then such a practical stance of worshiping Krishna in a specific form, accessible to our material senses, is very important. Because also it keeps us in this sattvic state, and the mind is capable of keeping Krishna there, and also while chanting. It's important. So therefore it says we have to chant when we are mostly peaceful. That's why Brahma-muhurta is recommended. It's the best time to chant. It's at that time. Don't do other things. And I and Ekachakra Prabhu can confirm that if you start doing some other things during Brahma-muhurta chanting time, you can get into trouble, complication. So I'll give the example of what happened to me, but the point was that it's so difficult actually to practice this, it seems, to be equipoised in this adversity when there are difficulties, because it's, nicely explained, yes, this is the standard, but when you hit with some storm, then that's the test to show Krishna if you can actually act like he wants, and then you become dear to him. So if the mind becomes disturbed by some situation or someone, I find myself sometimes, if I hear kirtan, for example, and then you're just so disturbed by the situation, then it becomes like irritating, just I don't want to hear now, I want to fix the problem. But the difference here is with all the devotees from Vraja, they never do that. They're always, the first thing is Krishna. First thing is Krishna is in their mouth. Krishna manifests a sound. And then he comes, of course, and does it. And whatever is needed, he fixes the problem because he's the boss. He's the one who controls. He has a plan. He has a master vision. We don't know, but sadly, often when we encounter difficulties, we just become mental and we just want to solve it. Oh, let's see how we'll solve it. And it doesn't mean that we don't do anything. Like, for example, even the coward boys, when Krishna is fighting with some demon, they also help. Like Dhanuka, for example, in Garga Samhita or other Puranas, much more details than Bhagavatam. So it was because they threw him, but he came back a few times, it seems, Dhanuka and the others. So there was a big fight, they were hitting, and the other boys, they used the sticks, they were hitting him. And then the small boys, they were also small, they threw their balls and whatever they had. So they were, but it's not independent, you endeavor, you try to solve the problem, but the first thing is you remember Krishna. The first thing, Krishna's name is in your mouth and in your mind. Okay, Krishna, you will solve it. And I surrender to you, please use me. I want to be a cooperator with you. I want to be an instrument for you. And then it's different. So yeah, if you decide to do something, well, you're supposed to chant. I suddenly decided to go and buy tickets for India, the other day. So I just went and became such a mess, and I was so disturbed, I just couldn't, how is this possible with this Indian website, How can they do this? Anyway, I was just really disturbed, and then because they withdrew the money, and then there was nothing, no confirmation, nothing. I couldn't connect with their chat bot because they wanted a number which they didn't give. Anyway, it was just the whole thing. I became so disturbed. The whole time for chanting was spent in that, and I was like, and then I had to give a class after, and I was like, oh, with this state of mind, how can it be? So I mentioned that to Ekachakra Guru. He told me, yeah, I have the same experience. Don't do this. Don't go and do something while chanting. I went there once to fill the benzene in the car, and then I couldn't pay. 25 times it rejected my card, and I couldn't go back because there was no fuel in the car. Finally, it worked. So, anyway, if something happens and we don't know what to do, or even if we know, we have to always, in good and in bad. That's also in Bhagavad Gita. A few times Krishna says it, either Shubha, Ashubha, in both auspicious, inauspicious, or good or bad. Same. You always approach Krishna, you always take shelter. And that type of submission is the example of the devotees. And the description here, we'll see also in the verses that the bodies of these huge wrestlers, they're like mountains. And I think this is not by chance. This vivid descriptions are there. It's not just to make some entertainment, but it's always instructive. And the instruction for us is, these demons we can't overcome the demons. And I remember Hanuman Prashik Swami, whenever I saw him in India, in somewhere else also, but he was always, in Vrindavan, only Krishna and Balaram kill demons. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's clear. But his point is, don't try to fix things yourself, especially in Vrindavan. And this is always, before I go, I want everything planned, everything. I want to be in control, So, but it's India, one thing, and then it's Vrindavan. Unless you leave it, you have to surrender. It becomes very difficult. So fortunately, Krishna arranges many times, even before I go to Vrindavan, that I have a reminder that now you're entering another reality, another realm. And it's not the realm of Mahamaya where you can play being the controller. It's a different thing. Leave it now before you go, otherwise you'll suffer. So yeah, so once I went for Vrajamandala Parikram for a whole month, so I prepared with huge suitcases. So I just arrived, and then there was some trouble at that time. There was some persons attacked somewhere in I think in Assam, a temple. So there were heavy guards actually with machine guns on all the sides. So I entered, they had to check all my luggage, and Maharaj told me, oh, you're ready for this? I said, I don't have any place. I thought it's arranged the first day, but it was the first day from tomorrow. So we're just sitting there at night and I don't know what to do, where to go. So he told me, I'll bring you to my place. And he was like, oh, you have too much luggage, let's sort it out. You did only one bag, the other we leave it. Okay, no problem. So we were going out and they stopped me. On the way out, they wanted to check again the luggage. And I was like, okay, let's open it and like that. But Maharaj, in Vrindavan, only Krishna and Balaram kill demons. And I was wondering, why is he telling me this? I wasn't upset. You know, anyway, they were checking something, some devotee came, so Maharaj is waiting, said, please let them go. And we went, but I thought, yeah, this is the point, don't get upset, you know, something's happening, there must be a reason for that. And then just be calm and let's see what Krishna is trying to tell you here. And then I thought after some time, and after some years, I forgot this Krishna and Balaram, only they kill demons. And then I thought, I'm not anymore affected. Whatever happens, I'm kind of calm you know, any situation, I'm happy in Vrindavan. I know everyone now. I know what they do when they hit me with their elbows in the temple. I kind of laugh. I'm not so much disturbed before, like they hit you. What is this? How can you be so rude? No, they are so eager, you know. So yes, that's fine. So I developed this demoniac actually thought. That's the point. You know, we may think, oh, these are the demons and we're the devotees. But in Kali Yuga, we know demons, devotees, they live in the same heart. And if you read the description in the 16th chapter of just one verse, Krishna lists a few of the demoniac qualities. And if you say, honestly, oh, I don't have any of them, like Damba, Darpa, Abhiman, these are all, you know, pride, arrogance, conceit, hypocrisy, and harshness. We're free, yeah? Completely. Well, there is something. So, and then if we act like that, then we act like demoniac. So this Krishna can help. Krishna can solve this. Only they kill demons. So anyway, I was pride. I had subtle. I'm fine. So I went to take money. At that time, there was a ATM machine in the Krishna Balaram temple. So I went there, and kind of you enter inside, and you close the door, and then I started to withdraw something, but it didn't work. Neither money were coming, nor my card was coming, or nothing. You know, Indian machine. And I was getting angry. I started hitting the machine, cursing the machine. And then a queue was, you know, like the devotees to just waiting. And then I was really upset, you know. I just didn't know what to do. I couldn't take my card, and then there was no money and whatever. And I was like, what to do? I didn't have any money anymore. And I was getting angrier and angrier and hitting the machine. And suddenly, you know, I noticed that Indian body, but that's how it often happens that if you've been in India and there is a queue, usually always there's somebody who comes just in the front, like nobody else exists. You have that experience? And you kind of, what is this? But you know, they were like, what? This is how it works. So when somebody came, not just cut the queue, but also wanted to enter inside while I was inside. And he just opened the door and started arguing with me. And I said, just wait a second. I'm struggling here. He started shouting at me, and I became really angry. I turned to him, and I was like, you know, red eyes. And then I noticed, you know, there was a lady, a girl who was there, really shockingly. She thought I would hit this guy, and there would be really something. And then suddenly I was just, oh my God, Krishna, thank you. And then I said, okay, I'm leaving, you know, I just did something, and then money came, the card came immediately. I just grabbed it, and okay, you know, I will never think again that I have it in control. So always, Krishna, only you kill demons, and I'm here. Whatever you show me, whatever situation happens, then it must be something special in Vrindavan. So yes, if we are in this mood of vandanam, which means submission, and prayer, especially through the holy name, with the holy name, we all, because he's always there. That's what Rupa Goswami says. The name is more merciful than the named. They're the same, but still there's some difference. And the difference is the name is more merciful. And this is a Namashtaka. So because he's available all the time, he's all forgiving also. So he's there all the time. We can immediately have his presence just by remembering and chanting. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any comments, reflections? Yes.
I have a question.
It's okay.
The line down there.
Huh?
It's on the light switch. Oh, no, yeah.
Oh, it's working?
So my question is about, you mentioned Aishwarya Goloka, and I was wondering, I've never heard about that. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains it's a Vaikuntha type of region in Goloka Vrindavana where Radha and Krishna are married and worshipped in the mood of awe and reverence, just like Lakshmi Narayan. You can read in his purports, the 10th canto. Yes.
So you say Krishna solves the problems and we just have to cooperate, right?
Yeah.
So how does that work? When we have a problem?
Prabhupada said, you go to the deity, say, my dear sirs, here's the problem. He specifically said, we ask Gaurnita and Krishna and Balaram.
Yeah.
They solve problems, so we say, my dear sirs, here's the problem.
Yeah.
We just submit it. Even no problems, even if it's positive, we have ideas and plans and something, we go and say, this is my plan. Only you can make it work. And please, if there's something wrong, correct me, give me inspiration that I adjust.
So the cooperation then means you have to be willing to do what it takes.
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
I mean,
And asking.
yeah, even just asking. 'Cause
Yeah, usually we don't immediately get, or maybe immediately he can arrange it in a way that we understand, but sometimes takes time to understand what exactly is his plan or he wants us to do, but it always happens.
Yeah. So normally we go to Krishna, and then if we have a problem, we'll try to solve it ourselves.
Yeah,
It's kind of some demoniac nature, I guess.
yeah, independence, that's independence, but we submit, this is what it is, and then we use our intelligence also. Krishna is giving us intelligence to do the best of us, but in submission, in shelter, not independently. That's the whole point. It's not that we don't do anything. Okay, Krishna, that's your problem. But this is the problem. I don't know how to solve it, please. And also to devotees of the Lord, we also approach them, like Srila Prabhupada. He said, I can remove all obstacles with one kick, if you ask me. So they are very powerful and present. We can approach Prahlad Maharaj, for problems. He's quite expert. As a manager, he managed the whole demon kingdom, so he knows how to deal. We ask for help, and they help.
So that independence, that misuse of independence then, to think that you can do it, because it needs humility to ask for help.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Otherwise,
So
I know what to do.
It's some kind of pride, ignorant pride, to think, oh no, I don't need to approach Krishna, I can solve this myself.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that's so-called humility. I won't bother Krishna, I will solve it, but no, it's not a botheration, we are servants and we want to be conscious cooperators. We want to be used by Krishna, so you guys please use me properly. I don't want to be on the way, on your way. That's the point.
That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur then says. He offers his whole household,
Yeah.
his wife, his everything to Krishna, and then he says, so now I am peaceful, I can relax, I don't have any more problems.
He says, everything is yours, I am yours, but I am the guardian on your behalf. So I still take care of everything, of my family, of my house, of the animals in the house, he says, but they are yours. You're the owner. I'm just the guardian. So that's the difference. Otherwise, if you're selfish, you approach Krishna with desires that he is your servant to solve your problems. That's not proper. You solve my problems. But no, I'm your servant. I want to be used by you. Then you're not egoistic. It's not that you're using Krishna. You want to be used by him. Yes.
If you want to experience this fine.
It is almighty.
Hare Krishna. If you want to train yourself in this consciousness, then it's a very good method is to go out with books on the street.
Yeah. Very quickly you realize.
Because
you're not
it's just the whole day it's tuning. And I realized that a few weeks ago, this one day on the street, that when I did it out of surrender and I just wanted to, be a servant. I remember the first few persons I met, they immediately took books because I just did it in a helplessness and surrender. And then I was thinking, oh yeah, I said this and this 20 years ago, and I do this, and then I say hello.
Techniques. It's working.
And then nothing. And half an hour later you're soaked and, humbled, and you sometimes think, I don't know who I am, these people. Sometimes this thought comes, I was book distribution, now I'm in charge of rather this. And nothing happens, nothing. Yeah. They don't care. Yeah. And it's quite amazing. I said it to the other Sankirtan devotees, that those who you meet on the street are really deeply in Maya, but they can really detect very easily if you are in Maya. Yes. It's quite miraculous.
Thank you.
I was, when you were talking about on the modes, the analogy of the boat, and then I was wondering if you're gonna talk about getting to the shore or not. And I was hoping you were gonna talk about that. That's just a thought, because I guess that's the ultimate thing, right? To be on land and not anymore
in the water.
In the water of the modes, and then. I was thinking about what is it Srivas Thakur who says about clapping, like this at the third clap, if it's not solved, then I was just trying to understand that a little bit better, and how to differentiate between like not that dependence on Krishna and not being the servant. Not for him to think that he's the servant, but how to make that distinction, because that sounds very much like the order giving. Giving Krishna the order to solve my problems, like that.
Yeah, so how to make the distinction? Prabhupada was asked how to be sincere. Just be sincere. I mean, you have to, it's not so difficult to detect what's your motivation. And if you go to Krishna and approach him personally, sincerely asking to be a servant, to be instrument, and you are asking for help that he is using you, then obviously you're not in the position of the master and demanding or ordering, and he is not the order supplier, because you're asking specifically for his help, so that you can serve him, to please him. That's what you say. Unless you're really hypocritical and you say, Krishna, please engage me, I want to serve you, to please you, remove the obstacles, but in the back of your mind you have, when you remove the obstacles, like, I am poor now, but I'll become rich very quickly. And then I will be quite happy, and then I don't need you anymore. It may happen, you may say the right words, but of course you can't, as you say, even people you can't, even non-devotees, you can't cheat them so easily like that. I mean, you can cheat. But Krishna is in the heart very sensitive. can feel anything. So normally we know, when we are asking for ourselves or for Krishna. So this seemingly you're asking for help for yourself, but again the idea is that you come to the stage where you just purely act out of love. And the point of reaching the shore, yes, this is the higher levels of bhakti. That's the shore, but especially prema bhakti. There is no coming back in that sense that you already reached and then it's irreversible. You're there. There is no danger of. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives in Madhura Kanambini all these levels of purification, and then on I think the highest was absolute. There is absolutely no anarthas, no aparadas, and it just can't happen. This is the prema bhakti. Before that, still, some danger, you can make a mistake, and some reverse is there. So that's the shore, that's the goal. There is no more shaking, and that's possible to be attained in that same body, but it's very rare. And there was a third thing. What's that? Yes, Srivas Thakur, you couldn't. The story was that Mahaprabhu asked Srivas, you have a busy household, I don't see you busy working. Well, how is it possible? And he said it's very interesting in Chaitanya Bhagavat, the arguments of Mahaprabhu. Nowadays, he says, people has to do, I forgot the expression, but do an extra endeavor to maintain. This was 500 years ago, and life was quite peaceful. Nowadays, what you can say is people had to do a lot of endeavors just to maintain, take a few jobs or whatever. So how can you do it? And Srivas Thakur clapped 3 times, and what is this? Can you explain? He said, it's up to Krishna. I clapped 3 times, and first time is first day. If nothing comes, no food, no, anything for maintenance, I fast. If second day, if it doesn't come, I fast. And the third day, and all my family also fasts. And then if it doesn't, the third day I will go and jump in the Ganges. Because Krishna is my maintainer. Why would I need to worry about it? And Mahaprabhu said, don't go and jump in the Ganges. I guarantee that Lakshmi Devi personally will provide everything for you. Because you're such a devotee, surrendered. So we shouldn't imitate that. We can fast for 3 days and see. If we remember Krishna or our consciousness goes somewhere else in the body. So better, just do what we are prescribed to do and follow the simple program. And then gradually we'll come to these higher levels and we'll appreciate, because these are pastimes to appreciate. That's why the Gopas, they just jubilantly danced when Krishna killed them, right? And Prabhupada was laughing when he heard the reading of Krishna book, especially the killing of demons. Shruta Kirti Guru remembers. The Prabhupada really became animated and started laughing and clapping. And he thought, let me just pick up stories with demons, because Prabhupada seemingly enjoys it very much. And Prabhupada noticed, no, just read from anywhere. It's all sweet, it's like a sweet bowl, no matter where you bite it. But it's just because Krishna kills other demons also, but it's like a form of fighting, like in Dwaraka. They attack with weapons, and it's kind of the Kshatriyas. But in Vrindavan, it's like a play. That's why the demons come with these weird forms, Some animal comes and, it's a danger, and snakes and birds and, horrible beasts. So they kill them, and it's a play. It's like, because they fight, of course, in jest. But they have a, arena, a place where they fight, the boys, every day. They do that in the morning, actually, near the Goshala. They do milking, and then they fight, just in the morning, before taking breakfast. And then also they have a place in the forest. So in Bhakti Ratnakara, it's described how once Krishna was walking with the gopis, and then he said, we fight with the boys. And they said, who is winning, huh? He said, of course I'm winning always. I'm always the victorious. They said, come on, we don't believe that. Even we can win a fight with you. In wrestling, Krishna said, what? What? You? They say, yes. That's described in there. And so they put suitable clothes, so they fought. So everyone wrestles there. Everyone have flutes, they play flutes also, the gopis. But it doesn't mention who won. I don't know what it just says that they had a wrestling match. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.